I've said it once, said it twice, said it probably thousands of times. But I'll say it again. You cannot out exercise a bad diet. You can't do it. But yet, a lot of us are out here and we're trying to do just that. We think that as long as we go take a walk or as long as we play basketball a few days a week, even if you're young, this applies to you. We think that as long as you do some sort of movement, then you're good. But that kind of mindset is looking at food primarily as calories. You're looking at food as, okay, this is the calories that I'm putting in my body. And so as long as I go exercise, then I'm straight. Okay. Food is not just about calories, it's about supplying your body with the nutrients it needs. I'm talking about, all the vitamin C and the B vitamins and K and D and all those kind of things that you know about. It's about the selenium and magnesium and sodium and potassium and choline. It's about all those minerals. It's about the phytonutrients. It's about meeting the very fundamental needs that your body has to actually run properly. I'm talking about organs running right. I'm talking about being able to your eyes work, your skin is doing what it's supposed to do, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So it's about providing your body with what the raw materials that it needs to run properly. And it's about understanding that there's a lot of food out there that has toxic stuff in it, which if you are eating it a lot, like you're eating it every day, in some cases multiple times a day, then this stuff is going to cause your body to run improperly. So in that case, so what if you play basketball a few days a week? Or so what if you walk every day? Um, it doesn't somehow nullify toxins. It doesn't somehow make up for a nutrient poor diet. So that's why I always say you can't out exercise a bad diet. Now, on the calorie note though, a lot of times we're out here thinking that we can go exercise and that somehow will take care of the calories. But the truth be told, if you're just looking at this stuff from a caloric standpoint, a lot of us aren't even doing enough movement to compensate for the calorie intake. So we think that, we're going outside and maybe walking 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever, even an hour when we're drinking sweet drinks all like sweet tea all day and we're constantly eating white bread and snacking on little pieces of candy here and there and little processed junk food and all this kind of stuff. And we think that if we just kind of go walk or if we go, I don't know, do an occasional fitness class, then we're all right. But you got to understand, it takes a lot of activity to burn off some of the calories that we intake through junk food. Also, keep in mind that your weight is not, it's really not just a matter of calories in and calories out, because you also have to take into account the way that the influence that food has on your hormones. When you eat something very sugary, it spikes your insulin, which people call the fat storage hormone. It's probably not a good idea to call it that because you'll think that it's an evil hormone because of the way we demonize fat. But no, it's just that your insulin gets triggered to be released whenever you consume very sugary, very starchy foods, because that sugar does not need to be in your bloodstream. So that insulin is going to essentially open your cells up, including your fat cells, and it's going to store the sugar or in the form of glucose, you know, in those cells. And a lot of us are eating that kind of stuff all day long. So we're keeping ourselves literally in fat storage mode. I'm saying all that to say, again, you cannot out exercise a bad diet. You just can't do it. Now, the only person I knew of who did that from a calorie standpoint, well, I won't say the only person, but all of us, most of us, if you remember the 2008 Olympics or whatever, you remember Michael Phelps and how he was known for, he's the swimmer who won all those gold medals. And he was known for eating about 15,000 calories a day to maintain his body weight. And a lot of that stuff was like it was a good portion of that wasn't necessarily healthy food. Very, very heavy, very starchy, and all this kind of stuff with like not so good sources of starch and everything. But from a calorie standpoint, notice I'm not saying nutrient standpoint. From a calorie standpoint, if he didn't eat as many calories as he did, then he would have been losing weight. He would have been underweight for sure. And he was very lean, very muscular. But when you swim in 6 hours a day, that'll you kind of need that. But I'm saying all that to say, you got to stop thinking about food from a calorie standpoint. It's not just calories. It's also about giving your body what it needs so you can operate properly at the system level, the organ systems. Okay? And then understanding too that when you eat a bad diet, even if you're going to exercise, chances are, unless you're doing like 2 and 3 hours of exercise a day, you're not going to see any sort of like benefit even on the side of weight loss. Not really, unless you severely limit the amount of calories that you consume intentionally, because it's just not going to happen for the average person. It doesn't because anyway, let me get off my soapbox. I just had to say that, y'all.